You are in the ring with Héctor Colon, 7-time national boxing champion turned nonprofit president and CEO. Héctor knocks out the big issues facing social services today with high-impact leaders from around the U.S. In the Ring is a creation of Lutheran Social Services of Wisconsin and Upper Michigan and produced by No Studios. And now, here's Héctor Colon.
Hello, and welcome to In the Ring with Héctor Colon, the podcast that knocks out the big challenges facing the social services sector and the people we serve. I am your host, Héctor Colon. In the ring with me today is Lenore Epp. Welcome to the show, Lenore.
Thank you.
So happy to have you. Lenore is a mother of 3 children. She currently works as the executive assistant of Sadov Iron and Metal Company. Lenore became a client of LSS in 2023 during a mental health crisis with her daughter, Maya. Are you ready for round 1?
I am.
Let's go, champ. Tell me more about you and your family, please.
I'm a mother of 3. My daughter and her husband and my one and only granddaughter, Shaylee, live in Menasha. My son and his wife, Mallory, they live in Green Bay, and then Maya lives at home with me. I've been with Sadov and have worked as the Lasky's executive assistant going on 13 years now. In my free time, I've always liked to give back. So I've involved myself in feeding the homeless, working at homeless shelters, and then Maya and I 5 years ago got involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we were bigs for 2 littles for almost 5 years. And that had to end last year during our crisis. I had to focus my time on Maya, and that had to end, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, thank you so much just for your commitment to your family, your commitment to your employer, and your commitment to the community. You are a true servant leader, and I appreciate you being on my show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what was life like for you and your family 3 years ago?
So I think in order to tell you what it was like, I have to go back a little bit as to how we got to where we were. My ex-husband and Maya's father chose, when she was 9 months, to have a lifestyle that was not conducive for myself and my children, and I had to walk away from that marriage. And he chose not to be a present father. So Maya, through those years, had to deal with having no father and all the issues that brought upon her.
I know that's hard. We all need a father.
Right. And then on April 7th of 2020, right when COVID hit, he passed away. And so you have this 11-year-old little girl who I don't think knew how to deal with those issues. And I think she, had all these dreams that he was going to get his life in order and come find her, and she'd finally have a chance to know what it was like to have a dad. And those dreams were snuffed out. And she fell into a deep depression, and that depression turned into anger. So her pain just showed up as anger. And that anger was directed at me because I'm her one and only, right? And we always force our anger out on the ones that we trust the most. And January of last year was my birthday weekend, and she had made her 3rd attempt at taking her life. And that, each attempt took a little bit more of my happiness and my fear, and the last one broke me. And I was at a complete loss. And, I am a person that always sees my cup half full, and it was shattered, and people started noticing that, my children. And I was no good for Maya because I was living completely out of fear. Everything I did was, when is she going to try this again? And I followed her around the house, and there was really no one there for me. I mean, I had my family and I had friends, but no one knew what I was going through as a parent. And my son called me up one day and said, "Mom, I need you to switch schools for Maya." Bless his heart, him and his wife of 1 year moved her to a small town in upper Wisconsin and gave me 3 months to find myself again, find my strength. And that's kind of where everything kind of started.
I'm sorry you had to go through that alone. It's really difficult to not have a companion, a husband, a father to help you along with those challenges. So I'm humbled that all that you've done to try to make this situation successful for your daughter alone. Can you walk me through the steps on your journey towards getting help so that you didn't have to take this all on, have this all on your own shoulders?
Sure. So I had recalled there's a lot of acronyms when you talk about mental health. And I had recalled Sheila from the Crisis Center in Fond du Lac had mentioned CLTS. And I called her up one day and I said, "What is CLTS?" And she said, "It's Children's Long-Term Services." And she said, "Call Christine. She's the director of the program there." And so I did. And she said, "Let's go ahead and get the paperwork started. There's this great FCT program." And I said, "Well, what is FCT?" And she said, "It's Family-Centered Treatment Program." And what it is there's a therapist. She'll come into your home 4 to 6 hours a week, 6 to 8 months. And I was like, 6 to 8 months? But at that point, I was like, I will do whatever it takes to save my child. And, you know, up until then, I had realized I had a friend who was going through some of the same things. And so we had begun talking, and, you know, we picked each other up when one was down. And, you know, we'd read books together. She'd call me and say, "Have you read this? Have you done this?" And so I started reaching out more and not feeling quite as alone. So Maya came back. She finished her freshman year with her brother. And then we set up the meeting with Jen from Lutheran Services.
Great.
And the first meeting, she came into the house, and, you know, Maya came back with complete hatred towards me. I had taken her away from everything she knew, her high school, her friends. Although she was with her brother, who she loved dearly, she was just relocated, right? And she sat there in that chair and said, "I don't know why we're doing this. It's not going to work." And Jen just smiled and said, give me a chance. And she hugged us, and away she went. And we had it set up. It was going to start in 2 weeks.
Wow. I'm so glad that you reached out for help and that you connected with us, specifically at Lutheran Social Services, and that we were able to help you on this journey, specifically with the Family-Centered Treatment Program, which we know is very effective. It's evidence-based. It's very supportive. And it's also early intervention. And so thank you for reaching out, and we're so happy that we can be a team in helping you and your daughter achieve the most success. That's the end of round one. Lenore, how are you feeling so far?
I'm doing good.
Great, you're doing awesome. In round two, we're going to learn how Lenore found help for Maya and herself. But first, a message from our sponsor, M3 Insurance.
People today are at a higher risk of experiencing mental illness, housing insecurity, and substance abuse. Do you know the health of your employees, your communities? How can you step up your benefits to better address their well-being? M3 Insurance helps businesses see beyond basic benefits and support employees where they live. It's a meet them where they are approach that LSS delivers to their clients every day. M3 and LSS offer real solutions to now commonplace realities that strengthen employees and inspire communities to thrive. Test your employee benefit strategy now by going to m3ins.com.
Okay, Lenore, are you ready for round 2?
I'm ready for round 2.
Let's go, champ. So thank you for sharing how you ended up finding us and relying on us to help you with your journey with your daughter. So what has changed for Maya, and what was next?
You know, I wouldn't be here today without my firm faith in God. Maya and I this story would not have happened without God being present in my life. And that's a fact.
Thank you, yes.
I have been blessed with 3 wonderful children, and 2 of those and their spouses have been a great support for me. They had to watch not only their sister, but their mom struggle through this, and they didn't know how to fix it. I have a significant other, Mike, who when most men would have ran, he stuck. He's seen me at my worst, laying on the floor, sobbing, and not knowing how to get off that floor, and he's still there. He's still supportive, and I'm humbled to work for such a wonderful company. The Lasky family is not just my employer, they're my family. They are not just invested in me as their employee, they are invested in me and my family. I mean, I could have worked for a company that didn't care. Mark has researched things and has reached out to contacts he knew and put me in contact with them. And then we move on to the 3 most important people that have changed Maya and my life and have gotten us to where we are. And that first person would be Jennifer Deringer with LSS.
Wow, that's great.
She came into my house, and it was very, very scary. I mean, think about it. You have somebody coming into your house, and all I thought was, she's going to walk in here and tell me I am the worst parent. I had to be, right? I mean, why is my child trying to kill herself? I have to be doing something wrong. She's so miserable. And Jennifer not once made me feel that way because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Jennifer is such a blessing.
She sure is.
Yes.
I told her, you were like, you're like that surgeon who you take your child to and they fix. And that's how I feel about her.
Yeah.
And the program was tough. It's not an easy program, but I was willing to make the change. I was willing to listen to her. Each child is different, and the way I parented my first 2 was like we all were raised. These are the rules, and if you break them, there's a punishment. With Maya, things weren't like that because she was dealing with mental health. She was dealing with other issues that happened beyond her father and the things that transpired with him. I think one of the things that Maya, if I were to look inside of Maya, she hated herself. She felt worthless. And so her actions, she felt everybody else hated her, right? So her actions, she wanted to prove to herself that if she acted a certain way, I was going to leave her and prove to herself that she was unworthy, and that didn't happen.
No. knowing you, I know you would never allow that to happen, and by coming to us and getting help was the first and very important right step. So we recently caught up with Jen, and here's what she has to say about the Family Center Treatment Program.
Family Center Treatment is a high-intensity in-home family therapy program. It lasts 6 to 8 months, and we meet with the families about 4 to 6 hours a week. Family Center Treatment addresses all different kinds of needs for families. No family is the same. There really are lots of differences with families that come and work with us. The ultimate goal and the thing that we are looking to achieve with all families is to preserve the family unit. We are looking to assist families who might have someone who's at risk of moving out of the home or is coming back home from living somewhere else. We are working with them to stay in the home and stay together.
Lenore, would you say that explanation matches your experience?
Yes. Yeah, you have to be willing to show up. You have to be willing to make changes. If something's not working and they give you an idea, be willing to try it. I was not on board with some of the ideas she had, and I fought those. And then I started going, well, what choice do I have but to try them, right? And I started trying them, and they started working. And I remember my son saying, because Maya still had that edge to her, and she still was showing up, her pain was still showing up as anger, right? And before the program, her anger would be here, and I'd come here, and then she'd go here, and I'd come here, because I didn't know how to deal with her, because she would get volatile, she would rage. And so now, when she came here, I stayed here, and I used the tools that Jen was teaching me. So when my son called, he said, Mom, I don't see a whole lot of change in her. And I said, but do you see the cops? Are they being called? When was the last time they were called?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't remember. I said, when has something been broken in the house? I don't remember.
Yeah.
When is the last time I called you crying, Austin? Wow. Now I get it, Mom.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your willingness to, in the beginning, to challenge the program, some of the suggestions, because I think it is through that you were able to develop the insight and the understanding of what was needed in order to improve the situation. So at LSS, we appreciate that, and we'll work with you along your journey to make sure it's the best approach for you and your family.
I also had, at that time, so once Jen came aboard, I told you my boss had me reach out to Allison Garner, and she wrote the book Unconditional with her daughter Piper, and I would tell anyone who is in my position or has had a child that has tried to commit suicide that you read this book. It's very raw. It's written from a parent and a child, and there's a lot of good in that book. And so she became my life coach, and she is to this day. So she was on my side. She was a support for me as well, and that's a very big key. Many people said to me, Lenore, you have to get supported, and I would say, I don't have time. I don't have the energy. All my energy is focused on Maya. I don't have the money. All my funds are going towards money, because every hospital stay, even though I had insurance, 1 week at a hospital is over $25,000. And so now that I was supported, that continued to give me the power and the strength to go on. And then as far as Maya, we got her into Raha Youth Services. And I cannot say enough about Kaylee Galvin, who is Maya's therapist. I have never seen anyone invest so much time into one person. And when I say invest, she is available at all hours during the day, during the week in the evening. On the weekends, she will reach out if there's a crisis. She is there for Maya, and she has been a gift to Maya, along with Maya's therapy horse, Captain. And that's another thing I would tell parents. Equestrian therapy is amazing. So if you can find that in your community, do so.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing how your own professional development journey and how you have a mentor and a coach that's helping you along that journey. I know I have a coach, and I'm very appreciative of my coach, Marty. She's a blessing. This is important, that you don't go alone, and that you seek the support you need in order to be the most successful you can be. There's a lot of people that feel that, well, they don't need a coach, it's not that important. So by you sharing that, gives inspiration to others to follow your example. Jen also shared how she saw family-centered treatment empower both Lenore and Maya.
Lenore made a conscious decision at that time in treatment to devote her energy to continuing the process of improving herself and the family and her relationship with Maya. So families are really asked to take a critical look at themselves and go, am I just doing this because someone's telling me to do it? Or am I doing this because I know it really matters? And I know that like 5, 10, 20 years down the line, I want my family to look like this. And if I actually start doing this every day and incorporating this kind of behavior or this kind of communication with my family, it might actually look like that down the road.
Lenore, again, thank you. You know, at LSS, our vision is to create healthy communities filled with people using their God-given gifts to serve. And I see you doing that. And so thank you for your partnership, for your example, and for really living out the vision that we have at LSS. Appreciate your openness, your vulnerability, your inspiration. You are a true blessing. How would you gauge the success of your family today?
There's a lot of ways that I gauge that, and a lot of those are centered around Maya. She's a warrior. Where do I start? She carried some really, she's always been an AB student, but for probably 2 years, she carried 2 Fs. Didn't care. This year, she finished with all A's, B's, and a high C.
Wow, congratulations.
She finished the CNA program. She now has 1 full-time job, and she's starting a second CNA job. She turns 16 at the end of next month, so I allotted her a certain amount of money. And she said to me, Mom, if you take the loan out, could I double that money if I make the payments? So she has a really nice car that she's making the payments to. Her response to, today teenagers can be very cruel, and her responses now to those things or social media, they don't faze her anymore because she'll say, I know who I am, and whatever anybody says doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And probably the one thing that I gauge is last year at this time, if you ask Maya, what are your goals? She had no goals. Her goal or her response to that question would be, why would I have any goals? I'm not going to make it to my 18th birthday. I don't even think I'm going to make it to the end of this school year. And 3 weeks ago, we were driving to school, or I was taking her to work, and she said, I just love my job. I love working with the elderly. They make me feel needed. I love to feel needed. And she opened the door to get out, and she leaned in and she said, Mom, I know what I want to do when I graduate. And I said, what do you want to do? And she goes, I'm going to nursing school.
Wow.
And I said, I think that's going to be a great fit.
That's great.
And she shut the door, and I completely lost it.
Wow.
Something that's so simple to other families that have not been through this
Yeah.
meant the world to me. Because, you know, as soon as I stopped crying, I started smiling,
Right.
saying, we made it.
Yes.
She made it.
Yes.
We put in the hard work, and God drug me through the worst years of my life to bring her through it. And she's, you know, I have a sign in my house that says, tough roads lead to beautiful destinations. And she's got a beautiful destination waiting for her.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Your daughter is very blessed to have you in her life. The success that she has been able to achieve in such a short period of time is a real blessing and a real testament to your service to her and your love for her. And on behalf of LSS, we're so happy that we played a role as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being available to me.
That completes 2 rounds. Are you ready for round 3?
I'm ready for round 3.
Let's go, champ. You shared at the start of the interview that you had nowhere to turn. You and Maya were in a state of crisis. I understand that you want to change that for other parents and children. How are you building awareness for family-centered treatment and for families in need?
I think the first thing I had to do was find something good out of the last 4 years. And sitting here in this chair is a very vulnerable place to be. But if I can...
You're doing great, champ.
If I can save one child, and if I can be an inspiration to even one parent, any uncomfortableness I'm feeling right now is worth it. Because the aloneness, that even if you have a 2-parent family, to have your child to worry about if they're going to make it to tomorrow is a very lonely spot to be in. So how could I not share the good things that I have found with somebody else? So I started doing research because, as I said prior, I had a friend that I realized was going through the same thing. And I thought, we are not the only ones in our community who are going through this. There has to be more. So I did my research, and I found Parent to Parent Wisconsin. And it's basically a mentorship. And so I did some training, and it's basically I'm matched with someone else who is going through the issues that I went through, and I become their mentor. And you're matched with them for 8 weeks. You can be matched with them for longer, which I will be, because my matches and I are, I mean, that's a bond, right? And it's a phone call. How are you doing? Because I'm not a doctor, I can't fix them, but I can be there for them. They know that they can call me at any time of day. I can give them advice. I can let them cry on my shoulder. I can let them scream. And I've heard words like, you were the first person that picked up the phone and called me back. You are the one person that has changed my life. Those things matter to me. Those things make everything I have been through worth it.
Wow. Thank you so much again, just for your willingness to take this to the next level and help other families. Like you said earlier on, it's hard to raise children with 2-parent families. You know, I have 2 children. God blessed us with 2. We wanted more, but just with the 2, it hasn't been easy, and that's 2 parents. And my wife stays at home. So how about all those other families that single-parent families with very challenging situations? It's very difficult. So for you to raise that, thank you. And for you to do all you're doing for your daughter and your family, thank you. and for you to, really pay it forward and really trying to help other families is a blessing to see. You're an inspiration. So now Jen shares her passion and also express interest in continuing to advocate for this work.
The reason why I wake up every day and the reason why I do this every day is because I want everyone out there, especially the people in my community where I live, to feel like they have access to mental health treatment. I want people to know that there doesn't have to be a cost to it either. I think that's what I appreciate most about LSS and about why I work at LSS, is because I'm able to provide quality services that cost nothing to the clients I work with.
Thank you, Jen, for all you do for LSS and the people we serve. You are a true blessing, and I'm honored and privileged to be able to work with you and so many people here that truly want to make a difference in the lives of the people we serve. Lenore, what advice would you give to parents that are experiencing similar challenges with their children?
I would say, first of all, if you're a faith-based person, do not give up on that. Don't give up hope, because once you lose hope, you have nothing. Because I did that, and then I had to pick myself up. Continue to advocate. If listen to your child. If I can't tell you the amount of counselors Maya went through, and I knew my child the best. I knew if it wasn't a good fit. So many times after a hospital stay, they say you have to get a psychiatrist on board. So Maya's psychiatrist, I knew it wasn't a good fit. They push these meds, and that's not who my child was. And I ended that. And the psychiatrist was not happy with me, but I knew that was not right for Maya. And I found now she has a psychiatrist, Dr. Chapman in Fond du Lac, who is phenomenal.
Great.
So just keep, if it doesn't feel right, keep searching.
Great.
Keep going.
Well, that's really important. You appear to be very resourceful, but really trying to get out there, and there's different types of help that is necessary for you to be successful, and you've been really a great champion in trying to find that help to move your family forward. You also mentioned hope. I think about the people we serve, your daughter, your family, the people we serve at LSS, who really have incredible odds stacked up against them and feel no hope. And so it often takes a person like you to inspire them with hope, or an organization like ours to inspire them with hope so that they can continue to move forward. How can people get involved to help support and bring more awareness to programs like family-centered treatment?
Share your story. It's okay to open up, because mental health and suicide awareness should not be shunned. My daughter is just as important as any other child that has an illness or an ailment. I've taught her, hold your head high. And there's certain things that have kind of angered me through this, and one of those is people are afraid to ask, because I understand it's a sensitive topic, but she's important. She matters. We matter, right? So it's okay to ask.
Right.
It's okay to invest in her just as well, because she needs that.
That's very true, and your point about people are sometimes afraid of coming forward and asking for help because of that stigma. And I think after COVID, stigma is becoming less of a factor. People are more willing to talk about their challenges, but it all starts with individuals like you and I. This conversation, making people feel more open that they can ask for help, that they can rely on others to support them along their journey. So again, thank you for sharing that. That's the end of round 3. But before I go, it's time to see how you roll with the punches and respond to some of these ad hoc questions. Are you ready?
All right.
Let's go, champ. What plans do you have for you and Maya during the summer?
Enjoying life. Unfortunately, though, Maya just found out she has to have surgery on her hip.
Okay.
Last year at this time, she was having her labrum in her shoulder replaced, sport injury. She now has a sport injury on her hip, but she's taking that in stride. So it's a little bit of a setback, but she's got a positive attitude about it. We're going to get through it, and then she's going to work. She just wants to keep working.
Yeah.
So she's got those car payments to make. So,
That's
and then
great.
I'm going to go on a week vacation with some friends from high school that I haven't seen in forever. So
that's great.
Mom deserves a little bit of a vacation.
You do, and that's very important. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, you deserve to have some time for yourself and take care of yourself. So I hope you have a lot of fun on your vacation. What article or book are you reading now?
I'm not reading any books right now. What I do right now is I have puzzles, and it's a conversation piece. So I always have a puzzle out on my table. It's either for me and Maya, or she's a pretty popular kid, so we have kids coming in and out of the house, and whether it be boys or girls, they're always sitting down at the table, whether they put 3 pieces together or 1 piece.
That's
It's a
great.
place that we all kind of sit around, and they pick puzzles out for me, actually. Let's do this one
That's
next.
great. Those are great times for family to come together and just be together and
Yeah.
have fun. Nice. What are your top 3 coping mechanisms?
Prayer, the gym. You will find me in the gym now.
Great.
Hours.
Mm-hmm.
I take my frustration out at the gym.
Yeah.
The third would be the one thing that even through I could have had the worst day, the one thing that brings me the most joy at a lot of the times, or can always make me smile, is my granddaughter Shaylee.
Mm.
So, and anything that revolves around my children.
That's great.
Those are the things that bring me happiness and give me strength.
You know, those are my exact coping mechanisms
Mhm.
as well. And so I'm going to have to get you in the ring, man, so you can throw
All
some
right.
punches and hit that heavy bag, release some stress.
Yep.
What's your favorite song and why?
My favorite song is I'll Praise You in This Storm
Hmm.
by Casting Crows.
Yeah. Love that song too.
And it's basically, God
Hmm.
can give us, or we can go through any storm, but I promise to praise him. Because in the end, he's going to be there for me, no matter what.
What is your game plan for spreading the word about our sector and the needs that we talked about today?
I'm not sure. I'm just getting started. I know that I'm working with Officer Mathis. She's the mental health specialist in Fond du Lac. She's agreed to help me bring Peer-to-Peer Wisconsin to Fond du Lac to get that known. I've been asked to speak nationally for the Family Centered Treatment
Yes.
Foundation. I don't
That's
know
great.
what that means yet. I know that everything is nonprofit, so I don't know what I can do. I have a lot of things going on in my head, but I'm only one person, so
Yeah.
I'd like to partner with you and do
Absolutely.
whatever I can to help.
Yes.
We need to get this out there.
Yeah.
We need to stop the stigma.
Yep.
And I truly believe that one day, this story has 2 different perspectives. And I know that one day Maya's going to share her story. And when she's ready, that's a whole different,
Yeah.
story to tell. And she's going to help a lot of kids,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely. We'd love to get you both in the ring when the time is right for that to happen. But you are just a true blessing, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to talk and for you to share your wisdom with everyone else. I know that they will appreciate all that they have learned through this episode, so thank you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share our story so that we can be a beacon of hope to other people.
As always, you can find our interviews on our website at lsswis.org. Subscribe to In the Ring on YouTube and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn so you don't miss any of these important conversations in the future. Thank you again, Lenore, and thank you to our sponsor, M3 Insurance. Con mucho cariño, with much affection. Bye.